Hi, it's me, Annalisa Boyd, Orthodox Christian wife, mom to 8, bread baker, candy maker, self-proclaimed doula, accidental midwife, and the author of The Ascetic Lives of Mothers. Hear Me and Special Agents of Christ, all through Ancient Faith Publishing. Today, I wanted to talk about loss, because with love also comes loss. And that's a hard thing to deal with sometimes. Earlier in the year, a young man in our parish was killed in a plane crash. I talked a bit about him and the faith that we saw and the blessings upon blessings that God gave toward the end of his life, even though nobody knew that it was toward the end of his life. But this month would have been his 18th birthday. And I think about his mom and the loss that she has endured. And I think about a lot of us. A lot of us have lost someone that is close to us, or a situation. Sometimes it's not a someone, it's a something. Something that was near and dear to your heart that no longer exists, or it's something that you can't get back, or it's a choice that you made that will never be the same again. And I think it's important for us during this time to recognize that with love, there's also loss. And also, with loss, we have a God who comforts us in the midst of that. A God who is not upset with us that we are sad or that we are grieving. In fact, he put that mechanism in us so that we can process what has happened to us, the people that we have lost, the things that have happened in our lives, the trauma, the drama, whatever it is. He has put that into us so that we can process. I always think about Lazarus and how Jesus wept. He saw the love that everybody had for that man, and he wept with them. So he is not angry with us when we mourn, when we weep. It is not an indication that we don't trust him. It simply means that we experienced love, that we were willing to open ourselves up to love. The miracle of love is this: we don't just love once. God has put in our hearts the ability to love over and over again. It is a gift, but it can also be a painful gift. But it is still a good gift. I think back to our first foster baby who we thought we were going to adopt. We had him, I first went and visited him in the hospital. He had to stay in the hospital for 2 weeks because of the drug exposure he had experienced. They had to do physical therapy with him. He had been working on detoxing in utero. So when he was born, he wasn't detoxing in utero. He was having a hard time in utero because mom was using a lot. And so when he was born, he was moving so much from being all juiced up in utero that his little elbows and his little knees were raw from all the moving he had done from being high. This little teeny baby. So I went in there and I didn't know. I never know how things are going to go with any of the children that we get. And as far as I knew, we could have them for a couple weeks. We could have them for a couple months. We could have them forever. I didn't know. And at that point, we had adopted one. So I knew adoption was a potential option, but it wasn't even something that I thought about from the get-go. So went to see him, and he was so tiny. He was only like 5 pounds. He was tiny, tiny, tiny. And we brought him home, and we had to give him morphine every 3 hours for 3 or 4 months so that his body could slowly handle being in the real world. And unfortunately, things did not work out with Mom. And during the 7 months that we had him, he didn't have one visit. She had her own story and her own background, and it just was not something that she could do. She could not bring herself to do it, to do what she needed to do to get him back. And as far as we knew, there was no family. So I had given my heart, or opened my heart, to this child. And I thought that we were going to adopt him. And that was the plan, and the social workers thought it was going that way. And at the 11th hour, Grandma decided she did in fact want to adopt him. And that should have been joyous for me, but I was already in the mindset that I was his mommy, because there had been no communication. There had been nothing for a long time. And let me tell you how much I cried when, and the grandma was wonderful. She was a wonderful, wonderful woman, very capable. I had zero worries. She had extra help. I mean, she knew what she was doing, and it was still, my mama heart was broken because I loved this boy. So he went to live with her. We saw him, I think, 2 more times. And we haven't seen him again. God bless him. But the thing is, right when you think that you're never going to love again, or can't love deeply again, God shows you that his love is so vast that it can fill you up again to be able to share your love with others. And that is whether you have lost a child, a spouse, a sibling, a parent, a best friend, anybody that God, and you're never going to forget that sorrow, but it is so amazing how God can give you that ability to love again, and love deeply and freely because of his love for us. So I think of my friend this is the first year without her son. She's experiencing all the firsts right now. So the first Thanksgiving, and the first Christmas, and the first school year at the beginning of the year of him not starting school. Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's. This will be the first birthday, and then the first Pascha, and then there'll be the first year. That's a lot of firsts. But I've seen in her life, as hard as this is, the capacity for her heart to love, to be pierced. She has an experience that not everybody has. Not everybody has lost a child. Many people have not lost a child. And I think those people have a special place in the heart of Mary, because her heart was pierced. And she had a longing. So even after the resurrection, she still had a longing for her son, who she saw no more. She still had that longing. And that is comforting, that there is comfort in her sorrow and her struggle. The one who can comfort us as well. So if you are struggling with loss, don't be afraid to talk to somebody. Don't beat yourself up for, even if that hurt and that sorrow is there your whole life. Because sometimes it's there. I know this, Mama. It may change over time and not feel as acute and raw as it does right now. But that longing and loss of her son, never going away. Never. And God's not angry with us for that. Because we can have sorrow, that does not plunge us into despair and despondency. We can have sorrow, and we have much more understanding and appreciation for the cross and the sacrifice that Christ made for us through that sorrow and loss that we have. And we can be available at a level that may be deeper than what some other people have experienced who haven't experienced a big loss, to be able to be a light for others. And that light can shine more brightly for others because of the loss and experience that we've had. So anyway, God loves us so much, and He has made our hearts not to forget, but to embrace it all and trust Him and become stronger through the struggle, through the suffering. So it's still so many times that all things work together for the good of those who love Him, and we're called according to His purpose. So if you are experiencing loss, if you need to talk to someone, please do. You are not weak if you are in the struggle, and God loves you. All right. Thanks so much, and let's keep on working out our salvation one mama moment at a time.